Hey guys, welcome to the Bird's Nest. Please like, comment, and subscribe for your NFL recaps, news, and gossip. Well, oh, sorry about that. Dillon Gabriel had his first NFL start today, and he had a very solid performance. Now, I've already said that I'm very excited about this Browns team. I think they have a very good team. Um, Even the offensive line held up decent today. They're struggling at tackle. I think both their tackles are injured, and they have backups in there. They traded for one, and I can't remember his name. He didn't do well today, but the defense is elite. Um, their run game with Quinshawn Judkins and even, well, not Jerome Ford, but Dillon Sampson. They haven't been using him a lot lately. They've been using Jerome Ford uh, and Quinshawn Judkins even more than anybody. Quinshawn more than um, tight ends, wide receivers, any other running back. Quinshawn is being utilized more than anyone else on the team. So with that, with Quinshawn getting the majority of the possessions and the yards, that freed Dillon Gabriel up not to have to pass much. He did pass. Let me tell you about the battle of the quarterbacks. For one thing, the Viking. Well, I'll save that to the end. Well, the Vikings do have a substitute quarterback in right now. That's Carson Wentz. Their quarterback, I think it's J.J. McCarthy, is injured. Carson was 25 for 34. Dillon was 19 for 33. And then Cam Akers got a carry and one carry for 32 yards, nothing to sneeze at. So they did beat the Cleveland Browns on percentage and yards. Carson Wentz had 236 yards today with one touchdown, and Dillon Gabriel had 190 yards for two touchdowns. So Carson Wentz performed slightly better than Dillon today, as he should, as this was Dillon's first game as a starter. So it was a solid performance for Dillon. He wasn't too far behind Carson Wentz, and for that to be your first game, that's great. But stats don't tell everything. But let's go on with the stats anyway. So Dillon relied heavily on the run game. Quinshawn Judkins had 23 carries for 110 yards. But he also had one reception for 18 yards. That was substantial too. So Quinshawn was very productive today, and he was the go-to. But even so, Kevin Stefanski's offense just does not utilize wide receivers like that. I don't know. Maybe it's because when Flacco tried to throw to them, they weren't catching the balls. They were just dropping them. And so maybe now he just moved off of them altogether, because between Quinshawn, Sampson, Njoku, and Fannin, they had 11 possessions to the wide receivers, 5 in total. Out of all the wide receivers, they had 5 carries, and the running backs and the tight ends had 11. That's not including Quinshawn. I'm taking him out. He had 23. So Dillon didn't throw a lot. He threw a lot of check downs, like Stefanski has been calling ever since the preseason. I've been waiting for Stefanski to do this complex offense that people told me he was going to do before the season. They said Shador couldn't learn it. Dillon learned it faster. It was more complex and pre-snap motion. And, Anyway, he just did the same thing he's been doing all season, which is calling those short passes, trying to stop them from having turnovers, I assume. You know, you put that ball in the air, you take the chance that it gets intercepted. Apparently, Stefanski is scared of that, so he won't let these guys throw down the field. Dillon did make some attempts down the field. His long passes, over 15 yards. He was 2 for 8 on those. He threw like at least 3 of them that I counted to the back of the end zone. He struggles with those long throws. I think it looked to me like he was just guessing. He didn't know where they were going. He couldn't see. He just threw it, and it just went anywhere. So Stefanski's short pass offense works for him. The problem with that is that you don't score any points. And the Browns have not scored over 20 points since the middle of December 2024. So, and that's because he doesn't have a quarterback that he could use for that, I assume. I assume that if he would have a quarterback that could do that, like Shador, he would incorporate it in his plays, I hope. But it came out in a video today. They released, I don't know why the Browns released this video, but they released video of Shador. I think this stuff is strategic. Of Shador begging to be able to throw the long pass during the Panthers game. He was talking to Kenny Pickett, and Kenny was like, "You want to throw it long, don't you?" And he was like, yeah, man, I do. And he was like, "Why don't you just ask him?" And then they showed. I don't want to lie. I don't want to say they did because I don't remember him talking to Stefanski. I had never seen Shador and Stefanski interact. I think he was talking to Reese. And in that game, Shador did throw a few long passes, beautiful long passes. But then again, so did Dillon. He just was not successful with them, and Shador was. So he looked solid. He managed the game well. There was nothing fancy, really. Even the touchdown passes, I don't even remember the one to Fannin, and I watched the game. But the one to Njoku, I remember, it was a short pass, bloop, and he threw it right to him. He was right there, wide open in the end zone. They were in the red zone, so he got the ball to him. But those long passes, not so much. Let's see how far the wide receivers. 22 yards for Thrash. But that's after the pass. That's not thrown 22 yards. In fact, so that's not even telling me anything. But he was successful with two of the long ones. Yeah. So, it works for Stefanski's offense. Apparently, I don't know. I'd never seen him coach before, so I don't know if he had a quarterback that could pass. Would he incorporate that more into his game plan? But what I'm seeing this season, since the preseason, except for Shador's game, it's just been these short passes. And Shador had a few too. It's just that it seemed more dynamic with him in there. He did more things than Dillon. I will say, because I remember Dillon's turnovers from his game in the preseason, but today, no turnovers, no interceptions. Oh, and if I didn't say already, he was definitely an improvement over Joe Flacco. 100 times better. So solid game for Dillon. I was pleased, just like the game I went to his game in Philly, and it was good until it wasn't. It fell apart. But the next game, it was solid like that. So this one looked like that preseason game. It was solid, with the passes, but it wasn't enough to win the game because the Vikings won 21-17. Stefanski mismanaged time at the end of the game. He was using his timeouts at weird times. It was like he was nervous or something. I don't know. But they had an opportunity. No, they didn't. You did not with a rookie quarterback in his first game. But if it was a regular quarterback, or yeah, they might have had an opportunity to pull this off in the last minute to get the ball down and score a touchdown. Or no, well, actually, what they needed to do was a Hail Mary, a long pass, which on the first attempt, what's the boy's name? Dillon. On the first attempt, Dillon threw the ball to the Vikings. He threw an interception. But the Vikings coach was trying to call a timeout on the sideline even before the play started, and so the interception didn't count. They had a timeout. They tried it again, and it still didn't work. They lost. It's these low-scoring games. They just are not going to win like this, and I hope that when it's Shador's turn to play, that he will at least incorporate long passes into the game plan. But today, Dillon did have a solid game. It just wasn't enough to pull off the win. They got Pittsburgh next. Pittsburgh has a good defense too, so I'm not really expecting us to win that game. Excuse me. This was a game that Dillon should have won, and then I would have liked for him to come into, hand it over to Shador with 2 wins, and this could have been one. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't think they're going to win, but Miami, they could win. My Panthers beat them today. So, Miami might be a good game for Dillon to try to do something, look like more than a backup. That's what he looks like right now. Very good backup. But we'll see in the Miami game. So hopefully, assuming, I'm guessing, if if Dillon goes 0 for 4, I think that they might move on to Shador after that, because that would take them to the bye game, the bye week. That would be excellent. And as a matter of fact, whether Dillon goes 0 for 4 or 1 for 4 is what I'm thinking would make them move on from him in the bye week. But that would be good for Shador. Although I think on the bye week, they actually take vacation. I think they really go on vacation. I've been watching Russell Wilson for years, and I follow him. And I think they take vacation during the bye week, but Shador would be the type to work. Especially if they name him the starter after the bye week. But that seemed like a good time for me, because that gives Dillon, let me see how many games. Because today was a game. Let me see. All right. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. What? Packers, Lions, Vikings. Here we go. It's on here weird. Okay. So they got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that would be 4 games for Dillon. Would be a good time to break. Give Shador, well, he would have to practice on his own in the bye week. I don't know if they will work out something, if anybody will be willing to work with him. But that would be a good time to bring in Shador. Although I was thinking that Dillon should get 5 or 6 games. But to me, if he goes 2 for 2 or better, well, he can do better. If he goes 2 for 2, no, I still don't think they should keep him out there. After that, going into the bye week just seems like the perfect time, now that I know when it is. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm gonna give Dillon I'll give him a C+ for today. It was a solid game. To me, he looks like a great backup. And that's impressive for him to be a rookie and to think that he can have a career, because a lot of guys don't even make it. You may not be able to be QB1, but there are plenty of guys, if you're a really good backup, they said the Ravens backup was good, but he's been losing games, so was Lamar, but anyway, it's still a career that you can have for years and make millions of dollars a year. So good for Dillon. I'm happy for him, and we'll see if he moves up from here and somehow he can see over the line and be able to pass the ball. I don't know. But good game today. Vikings. Oh, sorry. 21, Browns 17. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget, please like, comment, and subscribe. Mwah.